It's time now to review headlines of today's newspapers. And of course, we will start with the newspaper of record this day on Saturday. The lead story, Tinubu, my Ogun statement lost in translation. Respect for President Buhari high, unfailing. And the writers, they clarify a lot of things. Bagudu, Sule meet with President. Femi Adesina says Buhari didn't tell governors to pick consensus presidential candidate for the party. Kano Court clears APC statutory delegates to vote. Maybe too late. Court asked to disqualify Tinubu for questionable educational background, date of birth. And of course, the cover with 5 pictures of the leading candidates. And now, that's the headline, 13 presidential aspirants cleared. 5 are frontrunners. Tinubu falters. That's the story on page 5, but the pictures that we have that of Oshibajo, Lawan, Governor Fahimi of Ekiti State, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the Minister for Niger Delta, Akpabio. Their strengths are listed as well as their weaknesses. Those are said to be the 5 frontrunners, and it's a given that all these 5 were cleared by the screening panel set up by the party. The story under that, which is on the strip below, 2023 elections, INEC unveils guidelines, OK's electronic transfer of results, bars telephones in voting cubicles. That's a story that readers will find on page 16 of today's These Days. 3 important stories, Abby, on the cover of This Day today. Tinubu's clarification, as we discussed, during the week that was, of the fact that his statement in Ogun State in Abeokuta on Wednesday, was lost in translation, and that people misinterpreted what he meant. And he's saying that his respect for President Muhammadu Buhari is very high and is unfailing, even if he made allusions to the fact that the president cried and that he went to him in Kaduna to say that this is not about crying and everything. And as Emmanuel Efeni has said, all throughout yesterday and Thursday, the Olule saga, which Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu used to say that the president ran 3 times, but then he failed. The way that Asiwaju conveyed that was that he stumbled and he fell flat. Olule, once, twice, 3 times. So Asiwaju's, the clarification from his media team is saying that don't take that literally. I still have very high regard for President Muhammadu Buhari, who still has a whole year to spend as the president and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic.
What do you make of this attempt by Tinubu's team to sort of remedy what happened yesterday? Steve, your Yoruba is pretty good in comparison to mine. Beyond that, anyone who doesn't even understand Yoruba, body language speaks a lot.
Absolutely.
So even by the body language, you could see that this was quite condescending and denigrating.
Well, I mean, indeed, that was what, came across to a lot of viewers. And you didn't need to be a Yoruba person, to understand that. Emmanuel Efeni is not a Yoruba man, of course, he's a Lagos boy. But then his emphasis on the Olule, and I saw how people have reacted to it. It is not a presidential statement. It is not what you will expect from somebody who's aspiring
for the highest office
to
in the
occupy
country.
the same office. Yeah. The same office that the man that you're making, that denigrating, statement about, is already occupying, and he still has a year to go. You can't make ethnic slurs about Fura, and that you didn't ask for food, you didn't ask for gari, you didn't ask for soup, you didn't ask for Fura from it. That's an ethnic slur, For me, I would have expected that the apology will be detailed and will be unequivocal, not to dance around the fact that what you said was unbecoming, But then, an apology in a way has been tendered. Let's hope, of course, that it won't repeat itself. For those who want to be uncharitable about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they say that while he's campaigning, and that even if he becomes the candidate, or eventually as the president, you will need an office of rebuters and corrigendum, because it looks like every time that he says certain things, it is taken in another manner, and people, have had causes to have to explain over and over again, like, what he said about PVC, what he said about 5 million youths being recruited, the Agbado and the corn and, and stuff that he said in Kano.
But that in itself is a problem as well. If you always have to be edited, we can always go back and reference Donald Trump, which America had an entire problem with that as well. It's one thing to be vocal
Absolutely.
and to, have a president who is, who speaks his mind, but we must also understand the dynamics of communication.
Absolutely.
One thing you say today is going to become extremely inflammatory.
Absolutely. Especially in a social media, high-tech internet, a world. I wouldn't compare Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to Donald Trump, for the reason that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has high regards for the media. He believes so much in the media. Donald Trump does not. He thinks that, if you are against him, you must be fake. That's not the situation with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But then, as I said earlier, once he speaks extempore, we have seen over time, that there is a tendency to speak in a manner that you will have to moderate, what he's saying. And that's what Mr. Bayo Onanuga has done here, to say that I have respect, for President Buhari, fura or no fura, crying or no crying. And we should accept what he has said, in the hope that, again, as I said, that will not, recall, going forward.
I see, until there is a very clear apology, then it's almost too little too late.
It is.
That's really what
I agree with you. If you compare that type of conduct with what you have, for example, in a Yemi Osinbajo or a Kayode Fayemi, who are very moderate, who are very cultured, who are very, whose temperament are within their, those who are into absolutely, they're in control of their faculties, and most times, you will see that there is a world of difference. But again, as I said, the sort of pressure that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is dealing with is probably different from what a Yemi Osinbajo or a Fayemi or a Lawan, or an Amechi, for example, are dealing with. So we should, with a Bayo Onanuga there, you expect that there will be moderation, and I think that the statement itself was signed by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself, and we've just been corrected, which makes it carry a lot of weight, if that is coming from him, to say that I have high regard for President Muhammadu Buhari, But as we said, show it by what you say and by what you do, and not insinuations and inferences that can be, misinterpreted. And if you see what happened, 2 days ago, the first thing that you saw after the video came out was the fact that an Hausa subtitle came out, and I understand that that is already all over.
Because as we discussed earlier, you cannot ignore the fact that this is not a jab at one person or 2 or 3 people. You are attacking an entire geopolitical area, and the North. They are also northern supporters, lots of northern supporters that have rallied around Asiwaju.
The major fallout, the first major fallout is what Babachi, Lawal has said, the former secretary to the government of the Federation, who is an Asiwaju ally, was to say that, no, this is unacceptable. I cannot, on account of this, begin to, follow you. What Babachi Lawal, issued yesterday, it's a major blow to the Asiwaju movement, and he had quite a major movement as the front runner, for the APC thing. How many more northern supporters of Asiwaju will be swayed, by the fact that you can't denigrate a sitting president?
It leaves a really bad taste.
You cannot push out an ethnic slur. You cannot, you cannot attempt to diminish its importance, by what you are saying. But again,
even as a kingmaker, because that, of course, is where he keeps going back to say, I made them, I made them.
All this kingmaker
but,
thing
it
is
speaks
relative.
a lot about your
again,
sense of leadership as well. You could make people, but you have to put your entire weight behind them to say, I am proud that I made you, or I supported you, as opposed to, it's payback time now. But then again, we only know so much. I keep saying, we only know so much. There's still a lot of unspoken.
I don't know what it means to make people. You can contribute to their progress.
Words, there is such a thing.
Can we do another newspaper?
Yes, let's go for it. So we've got The Guardian, and 2023, anxiety in APC as panel disqualifies 10 aspirants. So, of course, this is going to be the recurring theme for the next couple of days. We also have... of course, what we've just discussed now, I have high regard and respect for President Buhari. We do not know those 10 people yet.
We don't know. Which is an interesting development, for the chairman, former governor of Edo State, John Odigie Oyegun, in his letter to the chairman of APC to say that 10 people have been disqualified. We do not know them.
Do you have any idea who they could be?
Well, there were insinuations as to age and those whose vision did not quite fit into what APC was looking for, in winning the election. But there was an instructive part of the statement in that letter to the chairman. Mr. Oyegun said that there was a 98% compliance to the fact that if the party decides to have a consensus candidate on Monday, that 98% of them said that they will respect the wish of the party. However, the addendum to that is that only one aspirant said, gave a caveat and said that I can only accept the consensus option by the party only if I am the consensus. We do not know who that person is. Do you want to make a guess? I will
not. I'm not going to take a shot at that because this gets so interesting. This must be one of the most interesting political seasons.
It is
that I have witnessed.
More so that APC is enjoying 6 additional days after the PDP candidate has emerged. But Monday will be loaded. Monday will be interesting, and then we will see. For me, it looks like a consensus person will emerge, and it may be that consensus candidate will be the candidate against that singular person who says, I will not concede to concession except I am the consensus candidate.
Wow, so much to look forward to. So much to look forward to. Okay.
All right.
I don't think we have a lot of time left.
That's right. I think we should do... Okay, we have Punch and then we have The Sun. Yeah. The Sun says presidential ticket. APC disqualifies 10 aspirants over graft cases. Now, this is, making a case for the reason. Graft cases... Resignation deadline orders. 17 governors back president on preferred candidate. Protest grand parties headquarters. There are a few other stories. Okada ban. Lagos crushes 5,000 motorbikes. Records 85% compliance, which we discussed in the week that was. And then APC primary. 68 senators, 180 reps back Lawan. Is it possible that the APC might go the way of the PDP to pick another candidate? And if you, of course, as you must have noticed, the Lawan movement has already picked an Igbo man, former governor of Abia State and a serving senator, Oji Uzokalu, as the DG of the campaign, who's saying that forget about all this power coming to the south or coming to the southeast. The only way to beat Atiku will be to have another candidate. I do not know where this Atiku is unbeatable narrative is coming from. This is the 6th time that he will be running as president. If he's that unbeatable, he will have been president, since 1993 when he first ran, against Abiola, or after, serving as the vice president when he had to move to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's party, ACN as the presidential candidate. But then this is the season of politics. Let's see if it will take a northerner to defeat Atiku, as those are saying.
But we've got to give it to Atiku for his resilience.
Yeah.
He just keeps coming back.
Muhammadu Buhari was resilient too.
Yes, and you see where that led him. So maybe that's the reason people are a little
he
worried
as a candidate. We'll see what happens in 2023.
That's true.